What's going on, guys? It's your boy Timaholic, and today we're going to talk about net neutrality. Okay, so net neutrality was enacted on February 26th of 2015. It's a little over 3 years old. Now, pre-net neutrality, we had 20 years of market data on how internet service companies behaved, whether or not they throttled their customers, whether or not they were putting more money into building out new infrastructure, and so on and so forth. Internet bandwidth is very similar to a highway. There are lanes, and there's only a certain amount of traffic that an internet pipeline can handle at any given time. Now, one thing that is really important is to understand how much data is moving down that pipeline at a time. And if that pipeline is getting congested, there's two options that can ultimately happen, right? So you can either charge more for the data that's going through there. You could fast lane it, which is what they're ultimately trying to protect against, is this fast laning. But the market protects against fast laning. Okay, it did it for 20 years before we had net neutrality, which is if bandwidth is maxed out and a company would have to raise its prices on certain kinds of data, its competitor will not do that. And it will just spend more money building out their pipeline to make it so that they're cheaper. I mean, people compete. Companies compete also, if you let them. So if there's only a certain number of lanes, okay, if there's 8 lanes and they're completely full, and then you make a 9th lane that's the fast lane, and you say it's more expensive to go over here, but then these are pretty much useless because of how backed up they are. You didn't really expand the infrastructure, right? So the goal of a market is to ultimately compete. So the goal is not to treat all internet packets the same, because when you do that, you don't allow this mechanism of the market to charge more for a resource that is not infinite, right? There's not unlimited internet bandwidth. There's not. Okay, there's not unlimited lanes on a highway. And how you determine when you need to add a lane on a highway is when the highway is always backed up, right? When the highway is always backed up and it's getting too slow, you realize that people want to go somewhere, but it's becoming more and more difficult. So the one option is a fast lane, right? So people have like an HOV lane, and so you pay to go into the HOV lane. Now, if there's a competing highway or a competing internet service company, and they can build out their internet highway wider to handle more traffic for cheaper than this company over here can do without really upgrading its network except adding just a little bit of a fast lane, people are going to go over here. Now, what you have to do is you have to allow this mechanism to work. You have to allow companies to charge more for a finite resource, because somebody else will try to take money away from these people via making a better product, right? No one's forcing you to use company 1 or company 2. How you decide which company you use is which one is better for you. Now, here's another thing that net neutrality does that I really disagree with, and I'll tell you why. Treating all internet traffic the same does not allow for an innovative business model to exist. Here's what I mean. Say, for example, a company comes out and sells internet based on how you're using it, okay? So they sell a YouTube package where you can only connect to YouTube. That's the only thing that you can use the internet for, and it's $3 a month, okay? Somebody might want that. In fact, somebody might not be able to afford $100 a month for internet, but they might be able to afford $3 a month for a YouTube package to just watch YouTube. And maybe they can learn, and they can see new content on YouTube, and there's free channels to learn how to program, and free channels to learn how to cook, and free channels to learn how to do all sorts of stuff. But by saying that all internet traffic is the same, what you ultimately do is you don't allow an innovative company to try to sell certain types of internet to a consumer that might want that. And just saying like, nobody's going to want that. You don't know that. You for sure don't know that. There's no possible way you know that, because you haven't tried that. You haven't attempted to sell a YouTube package for $3 a month and, Xbox Live for $10 a month, and then all other general data for $1 a gig per month, right? You haven't tried that, so you can't say, and you don't know whether or not I may or may not buy that. The only way to find that out is to be able to try to sell it, right? So if I can sell internet however I feel like I want to sell internet, and if the market wants that, then as a company, I'll succeed. And then I can put more money into building out my infrastructure. Other companies will have to adapt, right? And maybe the other company that sells all internet as one package will lower their monthly fee to compete with my a la carte style internet services. But not allowing the market to do that is ultimately hindering innovation in a market, right? Because if everybody wants all their internet traffic to be treated the same, then the company that tries to sell those little packages will go out of business. They just will go out of business. Another thing that neutrality does that I don't agree with is they don't allow companies, because of this non-fast laning and unable to sell internet not on a level playing field, is companies can't partner with other companies, right? So you don't have net neutrality on your phone. And so you have certain companies, like a cell phone provider can partner with a content provider like Netflix and give you unlimited streaming of Netflix on your phone, or unlimited music streaming through Spotify on your phone, right? So there's no net neutrality on your phone. And what has happened over the past 15 years? Well, now we have unlimited data plans, and you have certain types of HD streaming for video if you're using this content provider like a Netflix or an HBO, right? And because those companies are allowed to do that, if I don't want unlimited streaming through HBO, right, then I cannot use the company that's partnered with them, right? But because they're allowed to try to sell that to me, I can determine whether or not I want to buy it. But when you say that this type of competition is not allowed, you're actually keeping out innovators, right? You're saying that independent internet service providers that want to provide certain things to people are not allowed to do that. And that's really not fair to somebody who may want to enhance somebody's life through an internet package that might be, one, more affordable, and two, make more sense for that person. But when you say all internet traffic has to be treated the same, you're actually hurting our ability to innovate how we sell this service that is called internet. Just my take. Hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Tim Mahalik. Hit that subscribe button down there for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it says subscribe, that one. Hit that button, and then there's a bell button right next to that. Hit that bell button, and then you can see me when I do this again. So come hang out. I'll see you soon. Peace.